Okay, good morning, everybody. I will tell you a little bit about my story because it probably influences the work I'm going to show you. I was born and raised in Indonesia, and I had the pleasure to stay for 3 years during the war in a Japanese concentration camp. Then we moved back to Holland, and then we moved back again to Indonesia. And then we were in another war, which was the freedom war of the Indonesians against the Dutch people, the colonizers. Then we went back to Holland, and I did school and high school, and at my 16th year, my mother came to me and he said, "Gert, I have given up educating you because you are only partying. So what you will do is you educate yourself," which I did. Then I went on art school. Oh yes, and he said, "Because you never listen to your teachers." I said, "No, why? I mean, if you learn, then you need to listen to your teachers." Then I went to art school, where I also didn't listen to my professors, but I had some sort of talent, and they didn't know what to do with me, so I could swap 2 years, and then from there on, I came in the 4th year at the 5th year course at the Royal Academy of Art in The Hague. I was lucky after my diploma to get in at the Royal College of Art, and there also I didn't listen to my professors because I thought I already was convinced that as a graphic designer you should more act, and I don't know if it is the right expression, that the designer ought to be an author, and he don't need to listen to his client. He uses the client only to pay him or whatever. Yes, so I was apparently rather successful in this. It sounds a bit arrogant, and it's probably arrogant, but I can say it really works. And I would like to show you some of the work I did in the past. And I said in the past because about 3 years ago I have left my office studio Dumbar. I sold my shares to my partner Michel de Boer because I didn't want to work for the salary of 35 people, and now I'm free. And I have a little studio with my son, but I will show you all of the work, some of the work. Holland has a rather liberal attitude towards design, and especially graphic design. And you should know there's a subtle distinction between advertising and graphic design that has its origin in the war, because during the war a lot of advertisers worked for the enemy, and a lot of graphic designers were in the resistance doing forgery, passports and other things. That attitude still exists a little bit, and that is also the reason why probably graphic design is so booming at the moment. And it's also, I must say, the clients are rather liberal and in most cases well educated concerning good design. When I came back from England, I got a tremendous opportunity. I was about, I think, 26, and I could make the corporate identity of the Dutch Railways, which is still there. And from that on, I moved into a sort of a new field, which is called design for the public sector. I did a lot of, or we did a lot of things for the public sector, and in Holland the public sector became some sort of spearhead of graphic design for the public sector. And at a certain moment I went to the Ministry of Culture, and that was in very early 70s, and I proposed them to organize an exhibition which I designed, a traveling exhibition about the latest designs and ideas on two- and three-dimensional design in Holland, and I called it, the exhibition I called Dutch Design. And Dutch design is a big thing in Holland. Everybody calls himself Dutch design, and even the grocery store around the corner has a lot of Dutch design, so it is an idea which is totally nothing anymore. But I'm glad to be the originator of the famous word Dutch design, be aware. So this exhibition traveled throughout Europe. I said very early, I think 1972. It was very successful. It triggered off quite a lot of design processes for the official sector within the countries where it was shown. And then, after a few years, I went back and said, why not making another exhibition, Dutch Design #2, which traveled throughout the world, throughout the continents, being in Asia, Australia, America, I think South America, and also there it was a very, very successful exhibition. Okay, this is the reason why I'm going to show you the next project, which was a very exciting project. It doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it was done for one of the biggest clients in Holland. It was the Dutch Post and Telecom authorities, and there was a speaker on the Congress, and he said, you will not change the job, but the job will change you. I believe in the opposite, and I hope to prove you this with the following examples. The Post and Telecom were in those days one of the biggest firms in Holland, very successful, half-state owned, green for Post and yellow I introduced green for Telecom, and blue was the sort of holding. They employed over 120,000 people, which was in Holland in those days a very big company. But I have to say, it's also a company which is which has an impressive history in employing good designers and good fine artists. In fact, it was the biggest client for graphic designers, textile people, industrial designers, painters, sculptors, and also architects and landscape architects. We designed in those days the manual. Still have manual. This is work which is done about 50 years ago, and I introduced also the idea to put in a lot of illustrations. But at the same time, I was proposing to the board of directors a completely other use of the concept of a logo, and this is called PPT. You can also use it in a different way, as you can see here in the next slide. You can, as a sort of metaphor, split up proportions from the basic forms into an endless range of new forms, which arise seemingly at random, and you can also apply them to all sorts of material or expressions, or cars, or buildings, or giveaways, or canteen crockery. You can apply this ID. And I'm talking not anymore about a logo, I'm talking about an ID. And also you should know that throughout my career, I had always, I was more obsessed by the image and less by the word. So more the image and less typography. That was throughout my whole career the situation, and I could convey that message to my fellow designers, which were then working with and for me. So, but first I would like to show you some illustrations we did for this book, which I still like, and I think they have some sort of timeless atmosphere, and I think timeless is very important in design. You should design things which last for a long time, and it has not so much to do with sustainability, which is this new word I hear here and here and here. It's part of the attitude of yourself as a designer. It's part of the responsibility towards the job you're doing. Very important is also the text. The text was not written by an employee of the PTT, but I asked poets to write the text because they can communicate in a more human way when it's very highly technical stuff, or when it is dealing with very ambitious bureaucratic things. You can better ask it to an artist and not to a bureaucrat. So the manuals were in this sort of covering. As you can see here, this is the first introduction of the use of these forms. Apply to cars, apply to buildings, and also what was very exciting is that not only Studio Dumbar could use this ID, but also a lot of other designers in Holland. It was a sort of strange, loose design thing which was there for quite a long time, and it was quite remarkable that you could see that other design agencies completely interpreted this idea their way. So this was architecture, and it was applied on quite a lot of buildings. And of course this firm was extremely rich. As I said before, they had this very high tradition of good design. Here is the telephone booth. And this is the way the client would like to have it. And we were very good in saying yes to the client, but doing no. And sometimes we had clients we didn't like, we really didn't like, and then we offered them a glass of wine in the morning, and then they disappeared by themselves after. Now this is the way the client wants it, and this is the way I want it. And I'm happy to announce that this is the most stolen canteen crockery in the world. Another publication, I think this is about stamps for the post. This whole system for walls when there were buildings to be reconstructed, which was applied at a lot of places in Holland, all over Holland, and the public immediately could recognize this as the post or PTT, Nederland or Holland or Telecom. And then was this fantastic job I did together with the famous architect Gert. This is a building he made in Rotterdam, a telecom building, and I proposed this wall in front of it because it was on a beautiful strategic place along the river Maas, which is a major river in Holland, and Rotterdam is the biggest harbor in the world, and Rotterdam didn't have a sort of mascot like Paris, a sort of Eiffel Tower, so I proposed to the client, well, why can't we make out of this thing a sort of idea of an Eiffel Tower? And the idea is a light wall. In those days it was the biggest light wall in the world. Nowadays in China they are about 10 times bigger and use 10 times more energy. The idea was that you could give jobs to young computer artists to play with this system, this matrix of lamps in the color green. And green is the color of the post of telecom in Holland. It still is there, and there's still young computer artists who are playing with this fantastic possibility to make IDs on this wall, which you can look for about 5 to 10 kilometers. So we also had to design a special typeface for it. Another job I did was for the The Hague Dance Festival. Personally myself, I'm fond of modern dance, and that's what the reason is that in The Hague is one of the most well-known modern dance group, the Dutch Dance Theater. They organize every 2-year a dance festival, and they asked me to design this whole new form language. I'm talking in most cases about form language and not so much about design. I designed this with Bob van Dijk, one of my more talented designers, and we just asked for a few photographs of dancers and played with music notes, the form of music notes, because they are not so used so often. And as you can see here, Holland, I must say, has a very strong poster culture. Posters are still an important means of communication in Holland, and also especially cultural posters. It is, I think, interesting to see that it is the image which is most important, and then the way typography plays with the image. And we deliberately didn't want to design a logo for the Holland Dance Festival, because designers immediately start screaming, oh, you need to design a logo, and that's what bullshit. We just use it as sort of a major typographic construction in the imagery. And it's a very, very ordinary dance photos, which were in stock and not specially made for us. But it is the integration of the two ideas which I think are important. Here you see an example of the typography in magazines. And then, after 2 years, they asked us to do it again, to do the design and the publications and the information for the Holland Dance Festival. And then I came up with the idea, because everybody is about sustainability and that sort of thing. So I thought, why can't we recycle ourselves? So we recycled ourselves and used photographs or elements of the photographs which we used in the previous campaign, and built an entirely new world which dealt with or suggested some dancing. And the logo we did rather nonchalant on dance, and again built up with as a layer with the typography which danced, as it were, through the imagery of these posters. Personally, I think cultural posters are more stronger in black and white than in full color. That is a sort of idea I have on these sort of posters. Because it is, I think, such an unusual design, it immediately stood out in the very predictable atmosphere in advertising, when these posters were put up in display on billboards in the cityscape. I think as graphic designers you should have some hang-ups. You should take a stand in society and try to scream it or to show it or whatever. And one of my hang-ups is that I hate, really hate, and I'm trying to screen that for the past 15 years, but unfortunately I'm practically on my own. I hate marketing-driven design. It is marketing design is for me absolute nonsense. Because the marketeers who are now as high as the CEOs of firms, they pretend they know about design. They're too stupid to see the difference between a Van Gogh and a Rembrandt. And they always repeat themselves. And it doesn't matter what they do it for, whether they sell chocolates or bicycles or whatever. And they got too much salaries. Sometimes 5 times more than designers. So sorry, they're absolutely up here. So I hate them. They dress themselves the same way, in the wrong clothes. They have the wrong cars. They have the wrong third wives. They live in the wrong houses. And especially when you look at the furniture, it's all the same. It's modern. So I was very surprised to find a quote from a man I highly admired, Massimo Vignelli, who was last year here. And he said the following, which came straight out of my heart. He said about marketing, marketing research is a science invented in America to protect management from fear of failure. Well, here we are. But I did my phrase which is even worse. And it's this capitalism. Marketing is an invention from America, and a lot of bad things come nowadays from America. Also the capitalism, and the reason why I know it comes from America is that I think in 1987 I was the onlyest and I think the first president of the British Design and Art Directors Association, and there is absolutely brilliant graphic design in England, but marketing sneaked in, and I tried to explain this is wrong, this is no good. Yeah, but it comes from America and it brings in a lot of money and that sort of thing. Now this disease is also coming to Holland, and I think you really have to take a step towards something. So, no, that's all right. We understand this sort of course, and I think only the graphic designers will applaud. This was what I'm going to show you now. We were involved in a rather important corporate identity for a French bank a few years ago. And then suddenly the French CEOs discovered design and, oh, interesting, blah, blah, blah. And they invited me on a congress of French directors to show what designers can do for them. So I said, well, I was thinking, and then I went to my son, because my son is extremely good in the new media, and together we made the following film, which we showed at this congress of these French bankers in Paris, and I can assure you they were not so much amused.
Morning everybody, welcome back. This is Squawk Box on CNBC Europe. We were talking with BHP Billiton CEO Paul Anderson just as we were going into the break there. He is to step down 6 months early from the position of CEO. He will be replaced by his deputy CEO, Brian Gilbertson. The company, as you'll all be aware, formed the merger of BHP and Billiton in 2001. Let's take another look at some of the numbers we've had out this morning. The German electronics component maker Epcos posted a narrower than expected fall in second quarter operating profits. The company said a pickup in demand across almost all its units offset falling prices. How does that...
You seem to be looking for a reason that this is a negative, and actually this is a fantastic positive. Brian and I decided that the merger had gone so well that there was no reason for me to hang around. It's that simple. And so it's a success story, as opposed to there's something in the woodwork there that we need to be worried about. I'm leaving because I want to, because the merger's done. And at the time of the merger, at the time we announced it over a year ago, I said it would be somewhere between May and the end of the year.
Despite giving a gloomy outlook yesterday, both insist it's the success of the BHP Billiton merger that has prompted the move. We'll see you again tomorrow on Squawk Box. Let's hear what they said in that exclusive interview this morning on Squawk Box.
We had once we had an office in Frankfurt, but I closed it because there is this fantastic misunderstanding between the two cultures, the German culture and the Dutch culture when it deals with graphic design. We were sort of successful, but we always, when we had a client in Holland, normally you see one person. But in Germany, you see about 6 to 7 clients for one designer, and they shout and they blah, so that was sort of annoying for my designers and for me, and they absolutely didn't understand the sort of way what we were doing for design. And then I decided to close it. But before that, there was also a design conference with German designers and German clients. And they asked me to give a presentation. And today I'm rather into animation with films. I do this with my son. So this film is a sort of showing how Studio Dumbar was treated by German clients, and also here they were not so amused after. This is two examples of another thing which I would like to achieve, and you can see very clearly here as well the idea of the value of the imagery. And also I introduce here with this poster, which I did in 1971, the idea of stage photography, which I introduced in Holland and elsewhere, and fortunately or unfortunately I got copied, so I skipped that idea. But what I would like to say with this poster, and also the other one, is a concept which a lot of designers don't realize, and that is what I call stylistic durability. I think you ought to try to design things which last for a long time and which don't lose their visual dynamics or the visual power or whatever you can call it. This is not a moralistic thing, it's only a thing which I vaguely ask myself, and that is what I said before, the stylistic durability. This was a poster I did for the Walker Art Center about 40 years ago. Here again, the idea of stage photography and so on and so on and so on. So, my ideas are the power of the image, the hate of marketing-driven things, marketing-driven design, and also the problem as a graphic designer of this stylistic durability. Now I have come to a point whereby I can say that especially congresses for only about graphic design and for graphic designers are extremely boring. And not this congress, because this congress is a beautiful variety of all the design disciplines and all the ideals and the optimism and so on and so forth. But graphic designers, to me nowadays, are after the most vain people, after ballet dancers, opera singers, and architects. And I really come to a point where I question myself, what is the value of all this graphic design? There's so much, and they copy each other, and it looks alike, and it is a bit more here, and a bit more there, and it doesn't thrill me, it doesn't excite me. So I have deliberately chosen for a new form of graphic design, which is still in the make, which is, I think, the most purest form of graphic design, and it's visual communication. And it's a very strange job I'm doing, although I'm very excited. I do it together with my son, Dirk, and Rima Glam. She is a girl working with my son together. We're still in the middle of it, but it's extremely exciting. And I will show it to you before I finish. And I hope you will recognize there are no more laws of typography in that project. There are not anymore the vain designer. It's gone. It's only a form of engagement, because I think if we could look 15 years from now, these sort of congresses are only about one thing in life, and already you can see it here and feel it. It's about the engagement in your profession. It's not anymore about what color is this car or what sort of nice design I did for this or whatever. It's purely the drive and the optimism of engagement you can bring in your profession, because the world simply needs it. The world doesn't need another new record or whatever. Strange enough, or very optimistic, I thought three concepts which are involved in this new project, and that is simplify systems here, and it has to do with the organizing of chaos, and it has especially to do with that. I was struck by the last tsunami, which you all could see, all the misery in Sri Lanka and Thailand, especially Indonesia. And it was from day to day you could see what was going on in this disaster. And what struck me is that after the disaster, there came all these hundreds of NGOs, institutions which would like to do good. They bring first aid, they bring food, they will bring housing, and so on, and so on, and so on. And there is a complete miscommunication. So what I propose, and I'm still working on it, is I would like to propose to a major world institution who already has shown interest, but I said, no, it's not yet finished. We are still working on it and we need some more time. It's a set of disaster pictographs. So after a disaster, and you can have wars, you can have chemical disasters, natural disasters, disasters like the tsunami, we will bring a sort of communication system whereby we will try the victims to help, to give them information, but also in the convincing that I believe in the laws of the image and not so much in the laws of typography anymore. So here you see the first tryout of the set. This was exhibited in a museum in Holland, in Utrecht. And it's based on a very simple system. No more vain graphic design, no more typographical laws, and only one law: how can we read it quick? And in 2 languages. The language is the local language and English, quickly to be able to apply. And the color system is blue for information, green for safety, red for prohibition, white for care, and yellow for warning. It's based on the international traffic code signs. And also quite interesting is that this system is also colorblind people can read it as well, and that has to do with these little squares in the corner, left corner. Because 8% of the male world population has some form of colorblindness. We check these things with little kids. If children can read it, adults can read it also. And we are now also studying another hero of me, which is Andreas Fuglesang. He was a Swedish advertising man who went to Africa and did fundamental research on the problems of illegibility, of people who couldn't read nor write, or the perception of those people. So if children can read it, and we have these ideas of Andreas Fuglesang in the back of our mind, I think we will be able to come up with a system which you can use worldwide. And of course, you can ask, here in America, there's no pet cemetery with an easel. Yes, but there is in Darfur, of course. You have to give a sort of service or information where people can bury their dead animals. And as I said, it's an international set for all kinds of disasters in all the continents in the world. And we are now studying, we're working close together with the Dutch Tropical Institute, who is very excited in this project, and they're going to test it in Africa and in Pakistan, purely on the visual perception. And also we are studying the possibility of the logistics, and we are working on a kit where you can have them in the back of your, in the backpack, or we are also studying other ways of communication when a disaster is there, a flood warning or a chemical disaster. To make a long story short, it's a vast, vast project, and we're very excited to work on it. And up until now, we put our time in it, and I think, or you say, I think pro bono in English. We do that with a lot of excitement, and we read a lot about these things, and so on, and so on, and so on. I would like to conclude with another hero of mine, the inventor of the pictograms. By the way, I designed a lot of pictogram sets myself, but he was another hero, and his name is Otto Neurath. And I really was a big admirer of him, and he had this phrase, which was one of the things which enlightened me for years and years and years.